Just going back to Tuesday night, first of all, I mean, how big a result was that for you in the context of the season?
Well, I just think it's the way that things have gone lately. It was important, to get the 3 points. And I thought after that first 10 minutes, I thought we played some good stuff as well. So it was nice to get that confidence back, knowing we're still missing, three or four of our better players as we go into a tough spell, really. But, I think we can look forward to it a bit more now than probably what would have done if we'd have lost another game.
Yeah, no, I mean, you went about it the hard way, of course, didn't you? Having to come from behind and having to do it in the end with 10 men, which must please you as well.
Yeah, I mean, the determination at the end was fantastic. I felt really proud of him. I said that to him after the game, flinging the bodies on the line and making saves and headers and tackles. It was great. And I know it was only sort of 15 minutes, but it seemed like an eternity when you were stood there. But it would have been a travesty, I think, if we hadn't got the result.
And obviously the 10 men being Paddy McNair, getting the red card, which you were insistent you'd appeal, you did, it was successful. Like, you must be delighted with that.
I am, but I'm disappointed and frustrated at the same time. For me, it should never have been a red card. The referee was in charge of the situation. He was going to go down to his for a yellow card into his pocket. The linesman who's 30-odd yards away not got a good view of it. The same linesman that in the first half, Duncan Watmore had a great penalty pullback, an obvious pulling of the shirt from the same angle, and he had a great view and he didn't flag. And I wondered, I begin to wonder, is it personal, all this thing? Have I been in this league too long? 30 years, is it payback time? Have I had a go at all these referees and linesmen? And, because it seems we've had 2 red cards now unjustly that's been reversed. We've had the worst tackle that should have been a red card the whole season and we're not being given it. And you just begin to wonder, what we have to do, really. Are we up against it?
It's a moot point as to whether it is a personal thing or not against you or whatever, but just to broaden it out, and I know you have to be really careful how you go about this and what you say to us, but what kind of things can you do to get solutions to work with the officials and try and make things better? Is that possible?
Well, I speak to the referees chief, Alan Wiley, he was a good referee. The trouble with referees is, Shankly once said it, and it still goes, they know the rules and the laws, but they don't know the game. And referees, 90%, 95% will get things correct or, round about that in the game. But when you have to come to something that you've got to have played the game or you've been involved in the game, that's where they miss out on. And the education, I think Alan must pull his own hair out at times. When I write to him, and I do regularly, and he always comes back with an answer, he understands my frustrations, and he's got his own frustrations as well. And it's all about coaching, and he's trying to do his best to increase them. But, at the moment, like I say, I think having no crowd is affecting them as well, really. So it is a difficult one. I know he's doing his best to up the standard, and we have had some good ones. We've got probably the best one we've had come from Australia. The best referee we've had. He's an Australian lad over here. So there are some good referees. It's just that when you look at the decisions that we've had, the linesman, I wasn't happy with him all night, the other night. And for him not to give the penalty and then interfere, really, when he's no view of the situation from the position where the ref is. The ref's in a great position. As I say, he goes down for his yellow card, which none of us would have complained. And then the linesman from over here, hold on a minute, son, it's a red card, that. And, when I saw him in the tunnel after, and I said to the referee, you were given a yellow card then. It must be your linesman that gave the red. He said, yes, it was. We work as a team. Well, in that particular case, it was a really poor team effort, I've got to say.
To take the positive from it, though, the fact that Paddy's now available for you is just a massive boost given what he's given this season and how he's performed.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, he was distraught after the game, and the next day, he kept coming to see me. I didn't do it, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and it's just not his game, really. I mean, when you look at our team, crikey, and you look at some of the... I mean, for example, I haven't got time this week to do a video. I could send you in fact, I might do if I get a chance. I might just get Juicy to send you a picture of John Howson's foot having been topped by a player that should have been booked. I can show you the tackle. Referees can't see it really. They don't look for that after the ball with the studs up. And if you saw his ankle like a balloon black, I will. I'll ask Juicy to send it you down the line, because they're the ones that referees should be looking at. They're the ones that are difficult to spot, not your Paddy McNairs, the devious ones. And we had 2 or 3 of those the other night. No bookings whatsoever. So I haven't got time to start educating referees as well.
That will give us all something to do after the match, because you can't do anything else, can you now? So we'll all look at Johnny Howson's foot. It'll give us something to do for the rest of the weekend.
It will, yeah.
On to a couple of players who did return, Grant Hall and Ashley Fletcher, after a long time out. How have they been since? Because obviously it was the first for quite some time, first start.
Yeah, stiff as a board. I think I looked a bit fresher than Grant on Wednesday morning, sorry. They had a day off on Wednesday, but everybody came in. I thought that was great, really. They all wanted to come in and, have a loosener. A couple of the lads went for a swim. We know how many games we've got coming. We're going to need everybody in the next few weeks. And, the sooner we can get, I'd love to have a full squad for the running. People like Yannick and Tav. It would be great to sort of have that full quota.
And as you mentioned before, Ashley Fletcher just gives you something different, doesn't he, in terms of your options up front? Yeah,
he does. He's a natural. Well, he's not natural, but he does hold it better than most players. And it gives time for Duncan to make runs, and the other night it was Cabana as well, making runs, and he brings players in, the full-backs. You think you could tell as well that he'd been out a while. Him and Grant, because they loved it. They enjoyed being back in the. It's hard work training day after day when you've got nothing at the end of the week. So these two have, got a great boost now with the performance, and obviously going to hopefully continue the rest of the season.
Reading next, and they're right up there. It's a game to relish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a place I usually have traumatic times there, good and bad. I've got to say over the years. Yeah, I've had some Barneys there, some good ones, and like I said, good ones and bad ones.
Last season was a good one, of course, wasn't it? Because it was when the season had restarted. Boro got a win down there, which went a long way to securing championship status and all of that. So a repeat of that would be very nice. It would.
I thought that was the vital result last year, if I'm honest. I thought, it's never easy, the Majestic. They've got some great players. I mean, the front three. So it'd be a very good test for us. I'm looking forward to it, really.
What have you made of them? I mean, you just said about their striking potential, but they are a force to be reckoned with, obviously, in the table, as it suggests.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's with the strike force they've got, that's as good as any in the division. So we know what we've got to do. But, we played them when we played them at our place. I think they'd won every game before we played them. And I thought we played quite well that day. We just gave them one opportunity which they could have taken on that particular game, and we had a few chances. So I'm hoping it can be as close as that again.
And just finally from me, you mentioned Marcus Tavernier earlier on, him passing there as well, and Dale Fry, of course. How are they both?
Well, Dale's trained, I'm hoping, he had a really good session yesterday. So we're just hoping, obviously I've not seen the lads this morning, that he's got no after effects really. That was the hardest session he's had so far. So, but he looked good to me, and hopefully, he'll become available.
Thanks, Neil. Best of luck.
Thank you. Dawn, where are you, my love?
Hello. Hi.
Hiya, Dawn.
Can you see me? Yeah, you're mentioning Dale and Marcus. What about Marcus? Because I know he was a bit further behind Dale, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's still not doing anywhere near what Dale's doing. Dale's full training now, or he did yesterday. Marcus is still with the physios. It's a funny one what Marcus has got, because it's a medial ligament on his knee. So even when he gets right, he will feel a little bit of pain now and then. So it's just getting to a situation where he can take a little bit of pain and get on with it. At the moment, at the beginning of last week, the pain was a little bit too much to train. He did a couple of tough sessions and then he felt it a little bit, so we had to ease him off for a couple of days. But it's one of those that that could just, at the click of a finger, be okay. I'm optimistic that he'll be involved at some stage next week.
Oh, that's good. That's good, because with ligaments, they can just take so long, can't they? They're much more difficult injuries to manage than even breaks sometimes.
They are, and it's just on that delicate part of the side of the knee where you pass everything, Fortunately, it's just on his standing leg only, so it doesn't make that much difference. It's just getting through the pain barrier.
And you've already mentioned it, really, but how much of a morale boost was it for the boys to know that they can come from behind in a game to get the victory?
I think so. I mean, I think you could, the dressing room. It's always a great place when you've done what we did in that last 10 minutes. We all felt a little bit, as if it was an injustice when Dale got sent off. But I think, if anything, it rallied us really, and everybody putting a shift in like that. It was fabulous, and the dressing room, as you'd expect, was absolutely bubbling. And after the game, which is great. It's a great, it's great to be involved in nights like that, really.
And crucially, it has just kept you in touch with the playoffs, because if you hadn't won then, it might have just kind of got away from you. Yeah,
I mean, it would have been even closer. My old man Woody, rather than miss an absolute sitter at Bournemouth the next day, I had to send him a text to see if he wanted to borrow my glasses. He, it's one of those things, I'm afraid, just got to keep going. And, we're pleased to be in this situation, really. I don't think anybody, looking, the game's coming up next week, my old club Cardiff, who are flying. I don't think anybody expects us to really get up there. They're hoping, but you don't know with us. You just don't know with us. We can beat anybody on our day, and at the same time, we're likely to, make mistakes and do silly things. So I'm hoping that we can get that now that Dale looks like he's back. We can get that consistency again. Now we've missed that, that solidness that we've started to build the teams with, and we have missed Tav in certain roles. It gives us so many options as Tav. So it'd be great to have these lads back for this, for the final push, really.
As you say, I mean, for a really tough next few games, and it's just, if you're not being expected to win, sometimes that can be the thing that drives you.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think if you said to our supporters, really, we'd be equal seventh with 18, 19, I don't know how many games we've got left, if I'm honest, Don. If we've got this many games left, I think they'd have all snapped your hand off, really. It's like anything else. When you start getting some good results, and you should have had some good results, the expectations become a little bit higher. It would have been survival to start with, and then the top half, and then the top six, now it's promotion, people just get carried away. But, we aren't, when you look at those top six, they've all got massive quality squads. We're doing really well to be where we are, I think, in the circumstances. But that doesn't mean we're not going to trying our socks off to make sure we try and make a few people look over the shoulders.
Brilliant, that's excellent. Thanks very much, Neil.
Thank you, Dawn. Always nice to see you, Dawn.
You too.
When I look at, if you've got my view here, can you see all these ugly people on here?
I can see them at the side of my screen.
Ah, right, okay.
I'm used to seeing them.
Okay, Dawn. Right, which one's next? Andrew. Andrew, where is it?
Neil, you're right.
Oh, got you, yeah, Andrew.
I was just going to ask you, Neil, obviously with all your experience of being in similar situations, how important do you think it is now to really get some momentum together over these next few weeks and months?
Well, it's important. We want to try and finish as high as we can. So I think every result gives you a lift, and it was nice to get people, back to fitness. To have Ashley and Grant available, and then this week really Mendes has looked as good as I've seen him for many weeks. Definitely since he's been back with me, he's put a right shift in on the training ground with JT over the last few weeks. So I'm absolutely delighted the way he looks. He's busting a gut to get involved as well.
And playing a promotion rival, obviously 3 points is 3 points, but is there anything extra in there that you kind of trying to drive into the players about playing a promotion rival, or do you just treat it like any other game?
Well, I just think it's a good gauge for the back lads, especially with Dale. If Dale's in, you know, I mean, I realise why I've been a bit down myself with the other, you know, it's because Dale's not in the team. I went in the back room the other night where the players were changing, and just to see him, because all the players that are injured go in this back room down here. And I said to him, I'd just come to look at you, Dale, because you give me such an inspiration, you. And so it'd be great to have him back.